Hi, I'm Jen, and my son was born with Klinefelter syndrome. Klinefelter syndrome is something that you can't just look at somebody and say, oh, yeah, that person has Klinefelter syndrome. They're XXY. Same thing with a diabetic. Do you tell, your daycare providers or elementary schools or whatever that your child is diabetic? Yeah, you do. Because it's something that is important for that person to know about. Same thing with Klinefelter syndrome. It's important to tell people about it because it's they might learn a certain way, or they might have, certain motor skills delays, potentially, maybe not. Total spectrum, we don't know. But it's really equivalent to something like the type 1 diabetes, where it's not something that you can just point out. It's not obvious. And it does make it more difficult because there's not this actual visual trait necessarily associated with it. Having the diagnosis of Klinefelter syndrome, it's really nice to know. It's like having a crystal ball, basically, saying, here are the potential things that your boy might experience. You might experience some motor skills delays, possibly some speech delays, possibly. They learn a little bit differently, perhaps. So things like that. And so it's really nice to know that it's okay, well, these are the first things to look for. Because guess what? Guess who else has issues in learning disabilities? Everybody, regardless of, any type of or lack of medical diagnosis. So instead of having to, instead of not knowing anything, and if things were to come up oh no, my kid's not talking, oh, what am I gonna do? Probably just wait and wait and wait, and then, okay, well, when they're 5 years old, put them in speech. I don't know. That's probably what the track would be if you don't know. You're just kind of trying to turn over all of these stones. Well, wouldn't it be nice to know what stones to turn over? I would think so. Okay, well, why not just stay ahead of the curve and get physical therapy and get him any type of boost that he may or may not need, just to kind of get him, because we are aware that he might need a little bit of a boost, a little bit of help. So give it to him early. It's free. As far as speech goes, he seems to be pretty on point with speech as well. But again, might as well just get a baseline and see how he's doing. My stepmother is actually a speech pathologist, and so she really encouraged us to just get him into the system and see what percentile he's in. And he ended up being 96th percentile in comprehension, so he understands everything. And he was 34% in expressive language. So but again, that's most boys are later to speak anyway. So we're okay, well, we'll do speech therapy. Might as well. So it's just, you just know what to look for to give them this, a boost early on. It's almost you have this crystal ball. It's almost like a cheat in a sense. It's oh, okay, well, here, we can just crack this code. And again, it's not that simple, but in the earlier years, it kind of is. Just give them, a boost in where they might need it.